Welcome to the Groom Den with Fontaine Concierge. I'm your host, Cameron Fontaine, and today we have a very special guest, Heaven, the beer goddess. Say what's up.
Hey you guys, I am, like Cameron said, Heaven the beer goddess, and happy to be here.
Yeah, so I met Heaven actually through Clubhouse,
Yeah.
and Clubhouse hasn't been around for what, probably like 4 months now, 5 months. Oh, I've been on, and it feels like we've been connected for way longer than that. And I'm really excited to really get into it about how your services really elevate the groom experience. So over here at Fontaine Concierge, we're all about the groom, and we want to know what other wedding professionals are doing to elevate the groom's experience. And Heaven the beer goddess, and Sir, they got a lot going on.
Yeah, so thanks for having me again. I take care of grooms behind the tux and above the bow tie.
Okay.
So that includes everything in terms of aesthetics. So all of your waxing, manis, pedis, haircuts, facials, we cover it all. So literally head to toe grooming for the groom, again, behind the tux and above the bow tie.
All right, yo, so I know for me, again, I know they probably heard this before, but I got into this because the groom experience is a really neglected experience during the wedding planning process, and I came into that by knowing that through the styling side of it. But you coming from it from the grooming portion, so talk to me like how you decided, how you came to know, like, find this niche need in the wedding planning experience for the guy's side, for the groom side.
Yeah, so I would say probably about 80% of my clients were coming to me for a special occasion already. Mm-hmm. So it was typically a gift from their wife, their girlfriend, for either birthday or wedding. Mm-hmm. And they were coming to me because they had either blemishes or things that they wanted to take care of. Okay. So that turned into how do we get other guys on board because they deserve those types of services. And then it became like what's happening with the groom the day of, because so many of them, they were very neglected. Even if they had an appointment with me prior to the wedding, and then on the day of, they were like, "But can you come to me and help me out?" And that's just kind of how this whole thing was born. So my team and I, we came up with ways that we can pack up what we do in-house, and we can do the same sort of services not only for the groom but for his groom's party as well. And that's been extremely important in providing them with a next level service that is definitely needed. It's definitely an underserviced market.
Oh yeah, so I love, and I say this all the time, I love behind the tux and above the bow tie. That's one of my favorite things. But one thing, what would you say is the most important grooming thing that grooms should be looking for their wedding, whether it's just themselves or they're looking to do for a groom party? What is one grooming activity that you think you would prioritize first?
I would definitely say the mani-pedi is extremely important. So a lot of guys, they may get a manicure, yes, but a lot of times they forget their feet. So in a situation where you are in shoes for 8 hours that you may not typically
10,
wear,
12 hours.
True, that you may not wear, on a regular basis. And guys, they want to splurge. They may be in some Louboutins for their first time for their wedding, and them things are tight. They're cut a little different, right? So if your feet are not prepared for that, it could be quite painful and quite uncomfortable for that period of time. But not just for the wedding. You got to think honeymoon. So once you kick them bad boys off and you ready to go with your honey wherever you guys are going, you want to make sure your feet are ready for the sand, the sun, and the fun.
The sun, and the fun. I like that. I enjoy that. So, how do you find when you're working with other wedding professionals? How do you find how do they find out about your service? At what point do you come in the planning process, and when do groom clients identify the need for your services?
Yeah, so as early as possible. So once you know what your big day is, I really like to get in as early as possible, simply because there may be a series of appointments that are necessary. So we may have to do a series of facials or maybe even a chemical peel or something like that to get your face to where it needs to be.
Okay.
So if that's the case, we got to get those appointments. Dermatologist, or we may do some teeth whitening, and those things require multiple appointments. So if we get started early, we can guarantee better results at the end. There isn't much that we can do like the last week or the last 2 weeks before the wedding if I'm coming in a little too late. Okay. So, the more time, the better.
The more time, the better. and I run into this a lot with my grooms. I get a lot of requests for day of haircuts.
Yeah.
And especially with the groom and the groom's party, me personally, particularly, most guys, barbers are not concierge barbers.
Correct.
So coming out on site is a big to do for some of their actual barbers. So I typically discourage clients from getting a on-site barber the day of for a variety of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on having a barber the day of the wedding?
It really depends on the person and their hair and what look they are going for.
Okay.
So, and there are a lot of circumstances that that would dictate if an on-site barber is needed or not.
Okay.
So, depending on the groom, where the wedding is, and all of those things kind of play a part. But I will say this: if you are doing services, I would say opt for some of the enhancements if you're not going to have a day of barber.
Got it.
So that way you can maintain that really crispy look for a few days.
So what is an enhancement?
So sometimes we may do some fibers to maybe fill in your beard, to maybe fill in your hairline, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But you don't want to do that for the first time for your wedding. You want to do that beforehand. So use a trial session to try some of the fibers. Try maybe a little bit of color if you want to tone down some of the gray in your beard. Trial those things for your maybe engagement shoot a few months before, so you kind of know what look we're going for the wedding. And then that's your opportunity to trial a barber, especially if you're thinking about someone who's going to travel with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be a really good time to trial out that particular barber for travel services.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. What other grooming advice could you share with our grooms?
I would say definitely opt for the teeth whitening. That's a big thing. You are smiling and laughing and joking all day, and that's going to be captured. And listen, your family members, they are not the ones editing your pictures. They're going to snap you all day. Yeah. So don't chintz out on some of those services like teeth whitening and your facial. Your photographer is going to edit, but your friends will not.
Your friends will not. That's a fact. I really like the importance of the manicure pedicure because the manicure is important because although they're taking pictures of you smiling all day, you're going to get a lot. Your hands are going to be in a lot of pictures. You're going to be showing your ring. You're going to be shaking other people's hands. Like, more than likely, you're going to be touching your partner.
Yeah. So we do some paraffin wax. So we get your hands nice and soft. We put you in some hot mitts with some special creams to make sure your hands feel amazing all day.
Yeah, and one of the other thing about your services, like, it's super dope to have it for the actual wedding and getting prepared for that. But in honesty, like, these are some lifestyle things that people should be doing regularly. Grooms could be experiencing regularly, and whether this is their first time being introduced to these types of services or they've already been doing it and they're doing it an enhanced version for this special occasion. Tell us a little bit more how you can incorporate this into your lifestyle.
Yeah, I would definitely say it should be a line item budget in your regular budget in terms of living. Mm-hmm. At least it's easier and it's more budget friendly when you're doing these things on a consistent basis. The longer you wait in between chances of doing it, we're kind of starting over. So if we're maintaining your manicure, pedicure, and your facial, and you're coming every 4 or 5 weeks, and I would say that's probably about the longest length of time I would say to give yourself. At least once a month, you should be getting some sort of service in terms of manicure, pedicure, facial. Facial, you can probably stretch out to every 6 weeks. But if we're doing it on a consistent basis, it's actually cheaper than starting over every time you come if you're only coming maybe once or twice a year.
Man, that makes sense. Well, Heaven, I really appreciate you taking the time out to host me in your area. We're in the DMV right now. We're in this beautiful the Hamilton Hotel in their secret speakeasy room. And I really have enjoyed the conversations that we had around identifying opportunities to really elevate the groom and educating the wedding pros and also the end users, the grooms and the couples in general, and just the value that these type of services not only bring to the groom and the groom's party, but the entire experience for everyone. Again, thank you for coming on. Thank you. No problem. And we'll get back to our normal conversations. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Groom's Den with Fontaine Concierge. Again, I'm your host, Cameron, and we'll see you next time. Zay, how long was that?